What tactics did you use to scale outside of Fayetteville?
Okay, so Fayettechill and Fayetteville are automatically associated with each other, so this was an early challenge for us that we had to overcome. So the way that we got over that was think about what is it that we're talking about. We're talking about people that are laid back and relaxed individuals. What are the things that make them laid back and relaxed? And our answer to that was being outside, recreating in various forms throughout the Ozarks. And so we identified what those forms were: mountain biking, fly fishing, backpacking, hiking, camping, yoga, all those things, and thought about what are the other areas, what are the other markets that have similar activities to our market, and let's communicate, let's speak to those markets through what's already working in our own market.
How many locations do you plan to have in 5 years, and how do you plan on doing it?
So we have two different types of locations, or really three if you count internet traffic. One is a independent retail store, which is like base camp. We own the store head to toe, and you walk in and you're going to be inside the world of Fayettechill. We haven't really thought about or really developed our expansion strategy for that because brick and mortar is really on the decline right now, or it's in a transition stage. Ideally, we would like to have a couple more stores in 5 years, but that's if it proves to be economically viable. So that's kind of a ... type of question. We'll see what the market does. In terms of retailers, that's kind of the already established brick and mortar type of thing. So that's your gearheads, your pack rats, your retail partners that are throughout America. We currently have 140 of those throughout the Southeast, and over the next 5 years, I would love for that number to be over 500, and definitely have that international within 5 years, because we have a message that, our thing is if you go outside and relax, specifically in the mountains and the rivers and the lakes and the streams and the things that they create, then good things will happen, and there's mountains all around the world. And then the other form is online traffic, which is a whole nother thing, but that's really the front line of any modern business, is spreading on the online front, and we're constantly trying to expand our most dense circle as far as it can go. Right now it's about a 6-hour radius around Fayetteville is where we're hyper relevant. We're still relevant in other areas, and I would like that to grow to, in 5 years, be a fully formed national brand.
How did you initially get your name out?
Things and stuff. Stickers, hats, shirts, make as many things to sell as you do to give away for other people to be promoters. Find influencers that are doing the things that are worth celebrating and outfit those people and celebrate what they're doing and support them, not just with your apparel and your things and stuff, but with giving them attention, showing them love, essentially, and showing other people how to love them in the form of being like, whoa, that's cool, that's awesome that you're doing that thing. So really through influencer networks, and that was through athletes that were demonstrating and illustrating the cool way to do what we're talking about, and through nonprofits that support and sustain the activities that we're talking about. So basically influencer networks is a core to our operation in terms of spreading the word.
What challenges did you have your first year?
Definitely the regio specificity to Fayettechill, like that name equals Fayetteville to a lot of people's minds. So when we were first trying to get outside of Northwest Arkansas and Little Rock and other things like that, it was like confusing to people because they thought Fayettechill just equals Fayetteville, like it was just a college brand name, and that was it. And so when we realized that we had more to do in terms of defining what our company was about, what is our mission, what is our ethos, what do we represent, and that's where things like the Fayettechill team and the nonprofit network that we work with, and our principles of sustainably sourcing and making high quality things, that's where we realized we need to communicate those things more clearly and more loudly. And when we started doing that, all that kind of regional barrier kind of just broke down. And it was interesting because once we got outside of about 3-hour radius of Fayetteville, Arkansas, people don't naturally associate Fayetteville with Fayettechill anymore. At that point it just becomes a word. Just like Patagonia, for most people in North America, is not a South American region. It's just a word. Same thing with Colombia and all that. So once we broke through that initial barrier, we found like there was a lot of space on the other side of that, and that's pretty common for business problems, is once you can break through it, that's why it's worth breaking through them in the first place. There's a lot of new market space that you can kind of grow your business into.
How did you decide who should make your shirts and how you should make them?
I think that's one of those questions that we just really asked ourselves. What is it that we want? Like, if you want a t-shirt, you can go to a million different places to get it. And actually, like, nobody really needs any new clothes in the first place. Like, there's plenty of, you could buy a bunch of like new and or slightly used or used clothing all the time. And so we had to ask the question, what does the market not offer that we wish it would offer? So that was two things: super high quality, comfortable, eco-source, head to toe. Every thread, every part of it is, and this is embodied in our t-shirt that's made with organic cotton, recycled polyester, Blue Sign certified in the USA. Like, every piece of it that gets touched is mindful, thoughtful, and it's manufactured with the intention of having the most positive impact on the planet that it can. So there's the eco-source part of it, and then there's also the message that it was housing, which is the Ozarks are a special place. It's a place where people unwind because there's a particular blend of nature and culture out here that makes people have a good life. And so we wanted to make sure that we housed that message on these eco-source products. So a high quality product and a high quality message is kind of the 50-50 of the bread and butter of what Fayettechill is, which is, message oriented apparel type of thing.
Awesome.
That combination didn't really exist in the market that we were seeing before we really started doing it. And when we go to outdoor retailer and we tell a lot of people, one of the main things that we sell is t-shirts. A lot of companies are like, we can't figure out how to make t-shirts or to sell t-shirts. We make them, but really what sells our stuff is the puffy jacket or the more technical pieces, because that's what people in the outdoor industry are associated with, is like, how can I survive with this base layer type of thing. But people weren't really too concerned about how can I use the apparel as a canvas to convey a message that unites a culture.
What didn't you learn in college that you wish you did?
Well, marketing, because that's my main job, and I studied biochemistry and philosophy. But let's see, business principles that they don't really teach anywhere. Definitely try as many things as you can, but and really in any entrepreneurship, you're kind of exhausted by the number of opportunities that there are and deciding which ones to do. So try the things that you can, make them public, get public information on their effectiveness as soon as you can. Don't try to do an idea to its fullest form, not get it public until it's perfect. Get it out there and, okay for round one, minimize the amount of people, don't show it to your whole market, show it to a group of ambassadors that you've identified as like a research and development group, show it to your team, your interns, show it to as many people as you can. So basically get it out in the world, but in a selective state, so that it can start to get refined. Don't keep it in your head to where and you don't show it to anyone until it's perfect, because if nothing's ever perfect, so you basically will never show your best ideas to people. So get your ideas out for public refinement as soon as you can, and that way you can find out pretty quickly if it's a good or a bad idea. But that way you don't have to keep a good idea hidden from the world for 10 years and wait for somebody else to do it first, or you don't have to think that you have the smartest idea in the world for 10 years, but it's actually a terrible idea and you've carried that around with you the whole time. So making the internal external and having a way to habitually do that has been a process that has really accelerated growth for us.
How did you adjust from classes to real world problems?
It was really fun. I mean, working with Fayettechill was awesome, and my undergraduate course of study was considerably more strict, in terms of this is due then, and your project starts now and ends now type of thing. And the biggest challenge going from academic world to professional world, especially entrepreneurship, is nobody tells you when things start, nobody tells you when they're done, nobody gives you a grade except yourself. So a big adjustment process for me was identifying what are my performance metrics, what are the things I'm trying to achieve, what are my objectives, how am I identifying those, and communicating them to myself. A teacher will tell you what your objective is. You need to read this, you need to learn that, and all that kind of stuff. In the business world, especially entrepreneurship, nobody tells you those things. You define them for yourself, and you can forget them as quickly as you define them if you don't write them down and constantly reference them. So creating my own structure that allowed me to work not just effectively and produce things on a daily basis, but know that I'm going towards some bigger long-term goal was very challenging at first. Most people that start entrepreneurships, you can almost start every single day saying, what do I do first? What do I need to do? Nobody's telling me what to do. And figuring out how to automate and habituate that answer to where At the end of the day, I will identify based on how the day went what's the most important thing to do the next day. And so the next day just starts with kind of continuing the loop rather than starting the whole process over. And I do the same thing at the end of the week, do the same thing at the end of the month for the next month, same thing at the end of the quarter for the next quarter. And you're constantly reviewing like what was the goals that you set in the beginning of the year, and are you on path every single day, week, month, quarter to go to those, because you can set goals in the beginning of the year and completely forget about them by April. And that process of kind of keeping yourself inside of the lane that you define is very challenging for students to transition into. Every intern I have and every part-timer when they're in the beginning stages, for weeks, they'll just come to me asking, like, what do you need me to do? And I try to tell them, I need you to tell me what you're doing, not what I've already told you in the very beginning what your goal is, what your project is, and all that. You need to develop it to such a state that you're telling me what you need from me. And that transition is very challenging because people spend their whole life basically in academics consuming information from teachers and figures of authority. And essentially when you become a professional, you're becoming your own figure of authority, an expert on something. And that's a really challenging process. My name is Devin O'Day. I am one of the owners of Fayettechill. It's an outdoor clothing company, and I am the Chief Marketing Officer. So I do media marketing and digital presence and all that kind of stuff.